On episode 352 of the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, we meet KJ Landis and discuss her book, Happy Healthy You. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/352. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness? The 40 Plus Fitness podcast is here for you. I'm your host, Alan Meisner. I'm an NSAM certified personal trainer with a specialization in corrective exercise and fitness nutrition. Let me be your coach as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. Our guest today works in a restaurant during the nights and as a health coach during the day. She likes to keep very, very busy, and how she found the time to write a book, I have no idea, but she did, and she wrote a very good book. The message that she has out there resonates with what I talk about on here all the time. So this is a message I know you're going to enjoy. With no further ado, here's KJ Landis. So KJ, welcome to 40 Plus Fitness.
Thank you kindly. Happy to be here.
Your book is called Happy Healthy You. I really actually think this is kind of the perfect time for folks to be writing books about being happy. I mean, one of the big things I put forward in the whole wellness journey was that if you kind of don't have the trifecta of health, fitness, and happiness, then you're missing a big, big part of this thing if you think that health and fitness is all that's really there, because you've got to enjoy what's going on. You've got to have some joy in your life. And there's so much negativity. And I just want to kind of relate a quick little story. I'm a fan of a college football team called Southern Miss, and we're having a particularly bad season. And so there's just, as I go on to Facebook or whatever, there's just already we've got the political negativity, we've got the violence negativity, and now I have the college football negativity. And so it was actually refreshing to have a book like yours that I could just kind of turn all that stuff off for a little while and enjoy Happy Healthy You.
Thank you. So grateful that people read it and get it. And words of wisdom don't have to come from the greats. It can come from everyday people, the person on the bus next to you, the cashier at the coffee shop.
And now in the book, I guess you had a previous book, and so you kind of brought up the concept of superior self. And I like that because it's not comparing yourself to someone else or really worrying about anything else, just saying, I want to be kind of the best me I can be. But you have 9 steps that you use to kind of lead us to being our superior self. Could you talk about those 9 steps?
Yes. Superior Self, Reaching Superior Health for a Superior Self was my first book. And in it, I describe a protocol that I had created after reading tons of different food protocols. And it's really important for me to take your time when you want something, to do your best at each step of the way. And there's no time in the beginning or end. So step 1 for me was increasing water to a gallon a day. And I've experimented on these with my fat loss coaching clients. If we increase our water slowly to a gallon a day, we give ourselves the opportunity to realize when we're hungry and when we're just socially and emotionally hungry. And, I lost 50 pounds 6 years ago before I read the book. And that was, for me, a big issue. When I started losing the weight, I maintained my water. And even now, I have to get my gallon of water in a day, because I would be upset with my husband or my boss or a coworker, and I would eat a $40 piece of cheese. I would put my thumb in at work in a piece of cake and be like, oh, I can't serve that, so I'm just going to nibble on it. So we add electrolytes, or either in powder or adding a little bit of electrolyte, like a diet Gatorade or something, just a little bit. And that way you don't ruin the balance. Or you could put pink Himalayan salt. I also add lemon for the awake feeling that citrus gives us.
Now, I want to take one little detour real quick, because we didn't actually explain necessarily, and is that you work in the restaurant business. So When you talk about putting your thumb in the cake, it's not your cake, or someone else's. It's here's a cake that's ruined, and therefore free food.
I have to eat it.
Free food for the
in
staff.
In the evenings, I work at a restaurant. In the daytime, I do my wellness coaching, my writing, my blogging, my YouTube videos, my research. I go to universities because I'm always trying to up my game on my certifications and the latest science of nutrition. And take care of kids. I got 2 kids. So life is a blessing every day I wake up, but I like it to be busy.
Good. So the first one is water, and I'll let you continue.
I think that our fat cells decrease or increase in size, but we always have the same number of fat cells. And the way our body releases the fat cells is through urine and sweat. So as you're changing your life and shifting, and you increase the water, and you're exercising more, and you're eating healthy, and you're getting your water in, that's how the fat leaves our body. So you don't want it to be stuck, and we don't want to be socially and emotionally attached to the food. And if I'm not really sure if I'm hungry, I'll drink a couple glasses of water, and then I'll be like, oh, I was just thirsty. Also, increasing our water helps with headaches. The number one cause of headaches is dehydration. And if you drink a few cups of water, you'll realize in 20 minutes that most headaches go away. Do you want me to go to step 2?
Please. Yes.
Step 2, which used to be called week 2, but now I realize it could take people a month or 6 months in order to master step 1. So I call it steps. We give up all wheat products and all gluten-containing products while still maintaining that gallon of water a day. Gluten is a protein, and it's found in wheat, rye, barley, and some oats. And our body, ancient wheat, is not really the way wheat is grown now. There's a lot of hybridization, and it's GMO, and it's found in everything that is processed and packaged. So the best opportunity for us in step 2 is to give up wheat because it causes inflammation. Not inflammation like, oh, it hurts my arm's sore, but inflammation systemically. And that's where diseases come in, dis-ease. Your body is at ease or it is at dis-ease. And if you're not comfortable with what's going on inside the body systemically, that's inflammation. A lot of it is caused by gluten. And people don't even know that they have a sensitivity to gluten. I'm not saying an allergy, which is celiac disease, but you can just see the difference in your body, in your health, in your skin, in your sleep when you give up gluten-containing products. That's step 2.
Okay.
Step 3, giving up all grains. And remember, these are just for a period of time until you master it. Step 3, give up all grains. And that is just to shift into a grain-free lifestyle. Once you've given up the wheat and you've mastered it, however long that takes, then you can keep on experimenting. So now I will make sugar-free cakes. I will use coconut flour, almond flour, rice flour, tapioca flour. I'll even make like a southern dish, like fried green tomatoes or fried pickles by rolling them in tapioca flour and egg. And it tastes just as delicious as the wheat ones, and onion rings, like foods that you think you're going to miss. Once you practice and have fun experimenting, you won't miss it. Okay. Week 4, reduce fruits to 1 to 2 times a day, always keeping your previous changes. And that can be week 4 or month 4. And the reason is that there's a lot of sugar in fruits, and fruits are not grown the way they were years ago. There's so much sugar in an apricot, about 7 times as much as there was 70 years ago. And the growers do it on purpose, so we'll buy more delicious sweet fruit. And they're all uniform. It's typically the smaller and bruised fruit that used to be the most delicious in the old days, but now our fruit has to look perfect, feel perfect, have the wax on the outside. There's so many grams of sugar in fruit that when all plant matter turns into starch in the bloodstream, glucose, and it goes to the brain for power. But I can get just as much glucose from a bag of spinach, which has much less sugar. So this is just to teach us to get off that sugar wagon, because most of us love sweets, especially females. It's part of our hormonal system. And then once you do that, week 5 or step 5, reduce fruits to 1 to 2 servings a week. So you can have that as your dessert. So once you're able to conquer that, okay, I don't have to have sweets at every meal, then we can reduce it even more.
Okay.
Step 6, change the oils to only healthy fats. So people think canola oil is healthy. And the reason why canola oil got its name, because the plant that it comes from is called rapeseed. And Canada did not want the word rape on their largest export. So years ago, they changed it to Canada oil, which then became canola oil. They have to spin these tiny seeds so fast to get the oil out that it heats up the seeds and the oil and changes the level of the molecules from a healthy oil to a toxic oil. I'm not saying you're going to get sick, right? Because we don't drink gallons of canola oil, but it is one of the most used oils in the United States.
Yeah. And,
So
and what
I
you're talking
suggest,
about is oxidation, which effectively means that this is going to, when you get it into your body, it's going to cause inflammation.
yes. So if you're having your gluten and your canola oil or your partially hydrogenated oils, which make oils more shelf stable. So that means Crisco, those sorts of things. Oils that naturally are liquid, they're turning into a solid in order to have a longer shelf life in packaged products. So I stay away from those, and I opt for grapeseed oil, which is molecularly even small enough to use on the skin. I use butter and coconut oil for my frying in the pan. And I use olive oil after the vegetables are done or on my salads. And the reason being that there's a low temperature that olive oil should be kept at when comparison to the other oils. So all these oils have smoke points. And when it starts to fume, that's when you should stop using it, because that's when the molecules change and oxidize.
Okay.
And dairy, raw cheeses, we can have that. So that's a good fat, raw butter, raw cheeses, raw dairy. If you do eat dairy, if you're not allergic to the casein milk proteins, because the raw fat in those are so good for the body, and there's so much vitamin K in raw unpasteurized cheeses. And week 7 or step 7, no more added sugar in any products. So no honey, no agave, and I have a bone to pick with agave. Once again, the process to get agave out of the plant and make it very sweet is, again, the heat element to extract it changes it. And also the amount of sugar that it adds to the bloodstream is very high. So when you're using it as an alternative, it's not very healthy if you have diabetes or pre-diabetes, or you're just watching your glucose levels. I recommend something, and I don't work for this company, Lakanto, Lakanto, and I use the golden brown variety. It's the only natural sweetener made from monk fruit coming from Japan, and now it's imported in the United States. It looks and tastes and smells like brown sugar, but it is cool on the tongue. It's amazing. It's 0 calories, 0 on the glycemic index. And in Asia, they have been using it for centuries because the monks would sit under the tree and the monk fruit would fall. It'd be super hot and cracked, and they would boil it and make it into a sweet tea that they would use for lung issues, joint issues, colds, flus. It's very amazing. I really enjoy it, and I use it when I have my tea or when I'm baking. And it's very reasonable. It's higher. Of course, it's very expensive compared to sugar, but it's very reasonable compared to what it was a few years ago. It was $44.95 for 1 pound. Now it's $24 for 3 pounds. For the white sugar substitute, I recommend Xyla, XYLA, because it's less expensive than the Lakanto white. It's $14.99 for 2 pounds at your local health food store or a high-end store like Whole Foods.
Okay.
So it's just to give you the opportunity to release yourself from the indulgence. But you can still sweeten with dates or figs or dried fruit. Step 8, try the to purchase unpasteurized raw dairy and pastured eggs. So people always mix up the two words pasteurized and pastured. Pasteurized means a product is heat treated to kill germs and bacteria that were seen as harmful back in the late 1800s. Pastured means an animal was kept outside freely with no cages, and they were not given food that's not natural to their habitat. For example, if I buy pastured eggs at Whole Foods, they're $8.99 a dozen, very expensive. But the chicken that laid them were not kept in cages. They were not kept in free range area, which is usually just a few feet more. They're actually roaming the woods and they're eating bugs and berries and insects. So when you see eggs that say omega-3, that's not in their natural habitat, or vegetarian fed. Chickens aren't vegetarians. They eat their birds. They eat worms and insects. So those are words that are like branding words, but those aren't words that will actually help you enjoy the pastured chicken or the pastured eggs, which are the most healthful. They're smaller, but they're more beautiful in color and they're way more flavorful. And I think raw dairy is important because we have been, our government has told us we need pasteurized dairy, pasteurized milk. But once again, the amount of fat and natural healing properties of unpasteurized dairy is so helpful to our body, especially the vitamin K. And I no longer suffer from constipation or rashes when I eat raw milk, raw cream, and raw cheeses. And I've never had a sensitivity to eggs, but my skin is just so much better if I have the pastured eggs. And yes, it's more expensive, but I want to compare this to the health issue in America. If you spend a little more money and you have these sorts of healthy foods in your home on a regular basis, you will save so much money in doctor's visits, in medication, in hospitalization, in obesity, and the chronic conditions caused by that.
You know, and I'll even take that one step further. One of the conversation points that I've come across with my clients and with different people over the years is people who eat real whole food eat less because we're getting the nutrition our body needs. So we don't have the cravings. And so I think when they factor in their total food cost, they're saying, well, I can get eggs for 2/3 the price if I just buy, the middle of the road eggs and not the pastured eggs. And so they're like, okay, so my breakfast is $2 cheaper, but they're not counting the fact that they're also then going to spend, $3 on a box of Twinkies that they're going to kill later that evening because their body is not getting the nutrition it needs. And they're going on binges because their body's saying, you need to eat more because we're just not getting what we need. If you're getting good nutrition, you're very likely to eat a lot less.
Absolutely. And you're full faster.
Especially the way you put it together there with the, we're focusing on getting good, healthy fats. We're moving the simple carbs and the processed foods out of our diet. And you're doing this not, let's do it all today. It's in a very methodical stage. Let's focus on one thing first, the easiest and first one being water. And then you're factoring in these other things. And as you start feeling better and getting comfortable with that, you kind of step into that next one.
Yes, because to be honest, the first 3 weeks that you increase your water and you've got that gallon in, you will be using the restroom a lot more, especially at night. But then in the 4th week, when you don't get that gallon of water in, by 10 o'clock in the evening, you'll be like, I'm going to hit somebody if I don't get a glass of water right now. Your body will crave what it needs. It's amazing.
And I think that's why shift. And I think that's why so many people really struggle with the food thing is that they're not getting proper nutrition. And that's their body basically yelling at them, hey, feed me, Seymour, feed me. and so I just do think it's a symptom of us not getting good quality food. So if you'll just do these 9 steps and think through the quality of your food, it's actually in the end, medical conditions aside, I think I spend less on food now than I did before I started eating healthy.
Yeah, because you're not craving more and more of the junk stuff.
Right.
So you're not running to the 7-Eleven at 2 a.m. for a quart of ice cream that has a lot of crap in it.
Yeah. Or when I walk down through the, or I'm driving home late, I'm not going to have to just pull off to a Whataburger or, in a McDonald's and say, I just need something. Or I'm not going to stop when the Girl Scouts are selling the cookies. I'll give them a $5 donation and say, keep the cookies, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So now one of the things I really liked in the book was, and I've talked about the endocrine system here, but I think you put it down really, really well. It's a very just really simple, succinct. Okay, this is our endocrine system, and this is what it's doing to us or against us, for us.
Mm-hmm.
We have to figure that out based on how we treat our endocrine system. Can you take a little bit of time to walk us through the basics of the endocrine system?
Yes, but I'd like to start with step 9, which is giving up beans and legumes.
Oh, I'm sorry I cut you off. Yeah, go ahead. Beans.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
So beans and legumes are a high source of protein, but they're only a high source of protein if your body can absorb the nutrition. When you absorb nutrition from foods you eat, it is called bioavailability. So I suggest giving up beans and legumes because they have anti-nutrients in them, which cause us to have gas. The outside covering of all beans is called the endosperm. And in order to be able to absorb the nutrition from it, we have to cook it. It's better to actually soak it overnight before you cook it, and certain nuts also. So therefore, just as a practice, I'm not saying give these up forever. I'm saying build on this and have your beans and legumes once in a while once you've stopped that craving. So people who are vegetarian can switch to other sorts of protein, like nuts and seeds and vegetables that are high protein. And then you can live on the 80-20, which is 80% eat clean and green and 20% party like a rock star. That's what I practice in my life. And I've maintained a 50-pound weight loss since I was 46. And I just turned 53 last week, and people think I'm 30.
Cool.
All right. So now let's talk about the endocrine system. The endocrine system is the system of hormones that run our body. It rules everything from your growth to your sexuality to your food cravings, and it also rules your sleep. So when we go to sleep, our body is releasing, right before you go to bed, when the sun sets, actually, it starts releasing melatonin. With the onset of electricity in the past 100 and some years, we have so much less melatonin that our brain is producing and releasing. So that's why we have melatonin capsules. But if you practice certain prevention so you won't need the melatonin and you'll sleep better, you can put all the shades down. You can wear computer blocker glasses that make everything very yellow and warm. You can also have a F-LUXE, F-Lux light. It's an app, and your computer and your phone will turn to that warm amber light. And just getting rid of the electronics in your bedroom so that your natural hormone system can do its job. Now, in relation to food, the endocrine system allows us, the system of the hormones allows us to eat well. And when we're full, the hormones tell us to stop eating. When we eat tons of food that our government has said is great for us, like these processed packaged foods that claim to be heart healthy and whole grain, because of all the additives and chemicals and the deliciousness of those additives and chemicals, the hormones get mixed up and they don't know when to say stop. So it's vicious cycle until you break that cycle, and then your endocrine system can begin to act normal again, and you'll get full when you're supposed to, and you will be hungry when you're supposed to. I also am against the government and the Dietary Association of America and the AMA, who are being paid for by the government, telling us that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Once you get healthy, you will learn to live by your own hunger signals. And sometimes you have a natural fasting that goes on for part of the day. For example, in my personal history, I never was a breakfast eater. But because of all the TV commercials saying breakfast is the most important meal of the day, my mother wanted me to eat breakfast. So I would be kind and I would have something, but not much. And then when I became a grown-up, I stopped eating breakfast and I listened to my own hunger signals. And now, naturally, now that I'm healthy and eating real food, typically I'll have a non-caffeinated tea with breakfast. I won't eat breakfast. I'll have my gallon of water when I'm training clients or when I'm exercising myself. And then I'm not hungry until dinner. It's amazing. So the different glands in our body rule our hormones. So the brain is the master planner, and the pituitary gland, which is in the back of the brain at the base of the hypothalamus, that sends out a lot of hormones as well. One hormone that's really important is the thyroid gland and the parathyroid gland. We have a thyroid stimulating hormone that everyone has that is running throughout the body, but some of them are active and some are non-active. So they call it active T3, active T4, and non-active T3. You want them to become active because if you have a lot of this thyroid stimulating hormone and it's not active, you will feel sluggish, you will gain weight, you will be cross with your family. It also touches upon the emotions, the intestines, the adrenal glands, even the placenta when a woman is pregnant is a temporary endocrine gland. And during pregnancy, this gland makes hormones that are important for the growth and development of the fetus. The sexual glands, which are the balls or the testes in gentlemen, and also in women, all of the ovaries and uterus, they also release hormones. And in men, it keeps them muscular and desiring to procreate. And in women, it creates that beautiful softness of no matter how strong and fit a woman gets, she's never going to be as muscular as a gentleman. And that's just the way it is. And it also helps with puberty and growth. It's inherited as well. Some of these hormones running through our body, we inherit in the same style as our parents and grandparents. So for example, my mother, who just passed away recently, she didn't have her period until 18. And she had her period until 70. And I said to her, gosh, I just wish you'd have a baby at 70 so you could get on the Oprah show. Because I wanted to hug Oprah. That's one of my bucket lists. I want to hug Oprah before I die. I don't have to be on her show. I just want to hug her. And the same thing with me. I hit puberty very late. So I'm also probably going to go into perimenopause and menopause late. The hormone system can physically and emotionally heal us as well. So the food we eat affect the hormone system, and then the hormone system affects our overall happiness and wellness. And it's really, really important to participate in our own health because of our hormones.
Yeah. Now, there was a concept that you had in the book that I actually think is brilliant. People can really wrap their head around this. I tend to be sometimes a little bit more of a realist. And when I get into my head, I just think I can take a negative thought and just beat it out of me. I'm going to almost sometimes use that negative talk in a sense to prove it wrong in effect. I guess it goes back to my military upbringing and being in the military myself is, if someone yells at me, I'll actually move faster. Now, I don't really want them to be mean about it, but in a general sense, if someone's pushing me, that actually helps me. I like aggressive trainers. I like that kind of thing. But, I was a football player and again, maybe it's the testosterone. I don't know. But you have this concept for folks that need a little bit more self-empathy when they're not that kind of person, when they're the person that they're actually internal dialogue can actually be bad self-talk and can actually hold them back. You have a concept called the negative thought pot. Can you talk about that?
Yes, I bring it to every workshop, and I start every workshop. Even if I'm doing a chocolate workshop or an essential oil workshop, I bring the negative thought pot. I picked up a flower pot at the dollar store, and it spontaneously came to me one day because I left the front door open when my daughter and I went to the mall. She was about 9. When we came home, she believed somebody had broken into the house and was hiding in the house and was going to kill us. And I told her, it's just your mother's forgetfulness. It's okay. We're fine. Come with me and look everywhere. And she was so afraid. So I said, you know what? I took a permanent magic marker. I took that dollar store flower pot and I wrote negative thought pot. And then I told her, let's tear up strips of notebook paper and let us write down our negative thoughts, whatever fears, whatever self-doubt. I don't care if it's about food. I'm never going to be smart in math. I'm never going to get that career I want. I'll never be a millionaire. Oh, my whole family is fat. We're Italian. It's just the way it is. I write whatever negative self-thought you have down and you put it on that strip of paper. And it could be current or it could be a long-term negative. I call it the negative Nancy in my head. And we scroll it up into a little scroll and we throw it in the pot and we light it on fire. And you do that anytime you have a negative thought that's blocking you and keeping you from being your most amazing, superior self. And I do this over and over with myself and my kids. And the next time that negative thought comes into your head, you remember that moment of burning it up. And mentally or out loud, I say, you no longer have power over me. I destroyed you, remember? And it dissipates. I'm the winner. I'm the superwoman. You're the Superman. It's magic. It's more than magic because you're creating a energy that is more powerful than the negativity, which we need in our lives every day because we all have challenges. We're busier than ever.
Yeah. I like how it sort of puts a line in the sand, for a lack of a better word, to say, okay, I'm stepping away from this thought pattern because it's not serving me.
Yes. And if you can't meditate, if you don't have time for this or that, everybody has time to burn a little piece of paper.
Just make sure that the flame goes out before you leave the house.
Oh, yeah. Or do it outside in the backyard.
So I define wellness as being the healthiest, fittest, and happiest you can be. What are 3 strategies or tactics to get and stay well?
For me, the number one strategy to get well and stay well is increasing your water. Everybody needs to drink water. And it doesn't have to be expensive or bottled. You can always put a filter in. Increase your water and you'll see life-changing health. And one tactic is I always fill up my water in the morning. And on the water bottle, I have a giant one. It's 8 cups. I will write the word 8 cups and I'll put little lines in it so I can see as it's going down. It's a reward to see the water go down and hit that lower line and hit that lower line. It's a gift to myself. It's like, oh, I get a gold star in the middle of my forehead. The second tactic or strategy that I enjoy is movement. We must move. Our bodies were meant to move. Our ancient ancestors, the hunters and gatherers, moved about 12 to 14 hours a day. We're not doing that anymore. So move as much as possible. Have a standing desk. They're very inexpensive. Or have a desk and then you put the desk extension up if you have a desk job. I'm lucky. I move 6 hours a day as a server. And then I train people. So I'm exercising for myself and with my clients. Movement is so powerful. And the way to add that into your day when you're super busy is just set your clock 10 minutes early. I have a fault, and my biggest fault or my biggest flaw is I'm always paranoid about being late. So I try and get everywhere early. And if you do that, you have time to do quiet movement, whether it's in the car, outside, take the stairs. Give yourself that time. Get everywhere early and give yourself that time to have some sort of movement. And movement in nature is even more powerful because you enhance all 5 senses. The third strategy that I use is silence. Recently, I learned how to meditate at a free 12-day meditation retreat. And it was very, very meaningful for me to learn how not to react as much as I had been. The power of silence is so healing. Whether you're in nature, whether you're sitting in your car, whether you're sitting in the bathroom, shutting up is beautiful. And we all need it because most of us talk too much.
Well, I'm a podcaster. I have to talk. Those were wonderful. I really enjoyed those. So thank you for that. If someone wanted to get in touch with you, learn more about the book, where would you like for them to go?
Superior Self with kjlandis.com.
Okay. You can go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/352, and I'll be sure to have a link to that in the show notes of this podcast. So, KJ, thank you so much for being a part of 40 Plus Fitness.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful. It's just a beautiful day inside and outside when we share this sort of knowledge and our own discoveries. And it's exponential. The more you learn, the more you got to share. Thank you.
Isn't KJ pretty cool? Yeah, I really did enjoy that conversation, and I hope you did too. This week I want to announce to the podcast listener, you, that my book, The Wellness Roadmap, is now available on Amazon. You can go to Amazon and you can get the ebook at a really good discounted price. And I'm marking it down because I want to make sure that this is not something that's out of the reach of people on a budget. So I've marked it down, and all I ask is, while it's on this discounted price, which is only going to last a little after the book goes live, while it's on this discounted price, please go back to Amazon when you get the book and you've read it, and please leave an honest rating and review of the book. That's extremely important. Of all the services out there, Amazon cares about ratings and review. They will not show my book anywhere on their pages if they don't feel like I've provided a substantive work. So they need to see those ratings and reviews. So it is out there. You can go out to Amazon and get the book. You can also buy it through the website once it goes live. But going out to Amazon and buying the electronic version now, it'll be available to you December 4th. You can download it to your Kindle, right? A Kindle reader any time after that. But it'll be available to you. Read the book. Leave me an honest rating and review. Tremendous help to the show. Please, tremendous help to the book and helping me get it out there. So go out to Amazon, get the book today, and there's still time for you to get onto the launch team. I'm still providing bonus information and bonus support and extra little goodies out there for the launch team. You don't want to miss this, because I want to put the information where people want it. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the show talking about where we are with the book. That's why you're just now hearing about the ebook, because the ebook's been out for a little while now. And so the ebook's out there. The other books are going to start to populate soon as people can start talking to each other, which they don't want to do, but that's a whole nother story. You'd know more of that story if you were actually a part of the launch team. You can go to wellnessroadmapbook.com, and there you'll find a sign-up form to be on the launch team. Roughly, I'm sending them one email a week, so this is not like inundating you with all kinds of stuff. This is important, telling you what's going on with the book, so you're in the know, giving you some goodies and some extras, things like that. So please do go to wellnessroadmapbook.com and join the launch team. And if you just don't want to be a part of the launch team, I get it. It's just another responsibility, right? But please do go out to Amazon, search for the book under my name, Alan Meisner, or Wellness Roadmap, and you'll find the book. Buy the book, the ebook on pre-order. It'll be available to you first thing December 4th. You'll be able to download it to your Kindle. And then please, you got it for a discount. Please go out to Amazon and leave me an honest rating and review. Thank you. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, I'm going to talk about breaking weight loss plateaus. Until then, have a happy and healthy day.